Departure from Elorium took much longer than we thought. Ira met up with her father one last time for half an hour or so to discuss some things that she's done. She admitted to using her powers to protect us, and her father expressed a slight disappointment, but overall, I mean, come on, he's her dad. He understood. He made mention that there was no shame in protecting a future spouse. And, once again, I shivered to that. Irene complained that Revelio was to be her spouse, not me, and Odavid said, "Why, I had completely forgotten about Revelio." I popped pretty big for that line. That dude sucks. Speaking of Revelio, he actually did say something moderately kind to me before we left. He told me that he was relying on me to keep the princess from overexerting herself. However, it ended up being a backhanded request because he asked me to do so since I couldn't be of any use otherwise, so she'd be picking up my slack. You know what they say, Revelio giveth, Revelio taketh away. We were on the landing zone ready for takeoff. Edith and I stood next to Dasvogard. He questioned us about human life, and we were happy to answer him. Of all the dragons I'd met in Elorium, I liked Dasvogard the most. He was personable and even friendly. Though I think us being Iron's allies had quite a bit to do with that.
How strange. To celebrate the anniversary of one's birth when not royalty seems a bit much, does it not? Think of all the resources that would be spent.
Try telling that to a married woman and see how far you get.
I suppose different cultures, different customs. I don't think I'd ever celebrated my... what was it called again? Birthday. Strange. All the pastries I would have consumed would have made me quite the lazy dragon.
I mean, there are other things besides pastries. I mean, there are gifts.
Gifts? For what cause?
Oh, presents for the person's birthday it is.
But they did nothing to deserve a gift. It should be quite the opposite, don't you think? A gift should be another year of being alive. They should be celebrating their life by giving gifts to others.
What an interesting perspective. One I might agree with if I didn't need a new set of silverware.
I am so glad you said that out loud. I know what I'm doing when I get back.
You never let me down. Iron and Phineas approached us, the bag in Iron's hand. She set it down next to us and stood upright. Phineas stood next to her.
Preparations are complete. All the ingredients she needs to place the brand on Edith are ready.
Still haven't told me what it is.
That isn't important right now. Just know that I will give you every drop of power you need to get the job done. I will tell you all about it come branding time.
Did you get everything?
Yes, I believe so. But if I haven't, it's only a bit more pain.
Pain?
None of the ingredients for the ritual are at all required. The ingredients are all for the potion to dull the pain and make the ritual safer to commence. I could have done it already, but I haven't, because that would really hurt both parties.
Ignorak ran up to Iron and pawed at her leg. She smiled and pet him on the head quickly. She stood up, and he groaned softly.
A moment, Ignorak. I haven't forgotten about you. As I was saying, the brand will be placed upon you when we get to the Golden Shaman's abode. Once we get some privacy, we will start a 3-day ritual where I will grant you my power.
Must be nice.
I assure you, it's not just a power boost. It's a massive responsibility. Putting it in the hands of anyone even slightly less capable can end very badly. Once again, for both parties.
Are we positive you have everything? Even for things without the brand? It's not like we can come back whenever we wish. This is a one-time trip, most likely.
Yes, I made doubly sure. I kept a list in my head and checked it on the way back. We have everything. Pick up the bag. You'll be its carrier.
The thanks I get for being your shopping buddy.
Phineas knelt down, picking up the pack. He grunted, his eyes slightly bulging. He struggled for a moment and slung it over his shoulder.
What on earth? Was it really this heavy this whole time? Did you put rocks in here?
Certain minerals are required for the ritual.
Wow. Okay. You literally put rocks in here.
Minerals. Anyway.
Iron turned to say goodbye to Ignorak, but he was nowhere to be seen. She furrowed her brows and looked around for him.
Ignorak? Where did you go? Did anyone see him? Dosvogard?
Apologies, Princess. I was watching the sky to ensure safe flight. You know the young dragon, though. He was always mischievous and curious. He likely scampered off because he saw something fun.
But I wanted to say goodbye to him.
On my return, I will ensure that he knows you send your love.
Very well. I suppose we don't have time to waste. Hop on, everyone.
We all got on Dosvogard once again for the ride down. I hated this part. Iron grabbed my hooked wrist and wrapped it around her again. She held onto the dull hooks tightly and kept her eyes forward. Dosvogard spread his wings and jumped off the platform and then nosedived downward. You know what? I take it back. This was way worse. What the hell? Straight down?
I've been flying for 400 years, boy. I think I know what I'm doing.
Me too! Trying to get me to vomit up my rib cage!
Don't be such a baby! He knows what he's doing! Right?
Of course, of course.
Edith, what are you grabbing?
We're in a sound-bringing speed nosedive, and you're complaining about the slip of my hand. It was an accident.
What did you touch?
Can we please drop this?
Cup of fuel on the ground, Sergeant. We're trying not to fall off this hell ride.
Dosvogard spread his wings and thickened out his flight and began to gently descend to the ground. It was not the same location we took off from. I had absolutely no idea where the hell we were. It was a hidden clearing in a forest, though. He landed gracefully and began to shake.
Shake off even once, and I scratch your scales off.
It's a habit.
We hopped off the dragon one at a time. Iron pulled out a map from a small satchel on the back of her waist.
Where exactly are we?
The forest of Berlin. Essentially the outskirts of Jazz Black.
So the village is northeast, then?
Indeed. Avoid the roads. Travelers and bandits tend to bother passers-by. Not that I think you couldn't handle them, but I think avoiding bloodshed would be best for this particular part of your journey.
Thank you, old friend.
Think nothing of it, Princess. I must take my leave. I look forward to seeing you again. Dragon, or otherwise.
Iron smiled. I could tell she needed to hear that from one of her own. He turned and gently flapped off, so light that we could barely hear him leave. We talked for a bit and decided to wait until the next morning to start our search for Jazz Black. We set up a camp in a clearing after Edith trimmed the grass around the area, and Phineas used a little magic to rise the dirt so we didn't burn any foliage. Iron cut down some trees with Alistair for sticks and even allowed us logs to sit on. Phineas lent me his dagger, so I went off to hunt. I managed to return with a fair amount of berries, all of which I identified as non-poisonous. My father was a bastard, but gotta give it to him. He told me everything I could hope to know about hunting and survival. Came back with a few squirrels and rabbits after I apologized to them before killing them in the most painless way I could muster. And I still feel sorry for it. But it's the circle of life. Hunting for berries and cooking meat was fun, but procuring meat was always my least favorite part. I returned to camp and cooked them the best way I could. Iron had a wonderful idea to tell stories. But this time happy ones. Not to tell us about our past, but our funniest tales. She elected me to go first. My dad was somehow, some way, a ladies' man. I don't get it. But he'd always stay over at women's houses and leave me with a bit of food to eat. Just like scraps and shit like that. One night, the food he left rotted because he didn't think to check its lifespan before leaving it with me. So I was super frustrated because I was super hungry. So I went to the bar he frequented. I asked if anyone knew where Garrison Roy was, and the barkeep rolled his eyes and said, "The mists, hopefully." And I didn't understand what he meant by that at first. Amazingly, he told me where the woman he went home with was. I went to her house, knocked on the door. She answered it, and I said I accidentally kicked a ball in her yard and asked if she could go get it for me. She said yes and walked away. I snuck inside, complained to my dad that he gave me shit food. He gasped and was like, Xander. And I was like, what? And he said, put these in your pockets. And he put a bunch of like rings and jewelry in my hands. And I was like, what? And he goes, score one for the boys. What does that mean, Dad? We sat and laughed back and forth for a while, telling stories back and forth. Theirs weren't as good as mine, so I'm not retelling them. It's not because I don't remember. That's not it at all. Stop looking at me like that. Anyway, this was a much better correspondence at a campfire than last time. Before we were yelling at each other and now we were laughing our asses off. After a while, between eating our meat and berries, I heard a rustling sound. But it wasn't a rustling of leaves, more of a clanking of glass and stones knocking together. We looked around, all furrowing our brows. Phineas looked down and stood up, pointing down. He looked at where his finger led, and it was his bag. Something was inside of it. A raccoon must have snuck inside trying to find some food. We all got up and approached the bag. I decided to take the initiative and open the satchel. Suddenly, the creature jumped out high into the air and tackled me to the ground. It stood on my chest, and I heard the panting of its quickened breath. It opened its mouth to bite me, and I felt its tongue lick me on the face. I soured my expression and covered it with my arms.
Ignorak! What on earth are you doing here?
Oh, no, get him off. His breath stinks.
So that's why the pack was so heavy. We probably should have just opened it.
Iron quickly jogged over to me and picked Ignorak off me, looking at him. The same goofy look of love and adoration. He likely had no idea what he had honestly done. Or maybe he did and he didn't care. She sat him down and scolded him.
Ignorak! What do you think you're doing? You are absolutely not allowed to follow me! Go home this instant!
His tail lowered and his eyebrows did as well. He whined and quickly hid behind me after I sat up. He peeked around my side, blocking Iron into my body. I grabbed him and pulled him into my lap. I guess that's another mouth to feed, huh?
What are we gonna do? We can't have a puppy follow us around for the road ahead. He could get lost or worse.
Well, first things first, he probably hasn't eaten in... How long will he be on the road at this point? What does he even eat?
Usually flour and the like. No meat. He won't touch it.
Right. Come on, Iggy, let's get you something to munch on. He looked up at me and smiled his toothy little smile with his tongue hanging out. Apparently, he liked that name. I picked him up, setting him on the ground, walking away. He followed me closely.
Iggy?
Well, humans kind of have funny names for their pets sometimes.
A pet? He can't stay! He's going to get hurt!
Are you implying the Dragon Princess herself can't protect this innocent little creature? And here I thought you could do anything.
Of course I can! It was never about my ability. I just don't want to be looking over my shoulder the whole time to see if he's still there.
Well, you didn't want to leave him behind, and he adores you, so 2 birds, 1 stone.
He talks as though Ignorak is a stray dog.
Just so we're clear, if he stays in the bag, I'm not carrying it anymore.
My life is a circus, for I am surrounded by clowns.
Over the course of all of human history, we have created many things, but the whole idea of 1, 2, 3, not it, is the true mastery of deception. Which is, of course, how we settled who'd carry Iggy in the pack. Iron lost. She slung the bag over her back, and Iggy popped his head out like a dog sticking his head out of the window of a carriage. We searched around for a scout to no avail. Eventually, we found something on the ground. A piece of ripped cloth. I sniffed it. While not completely odorless, it didn't have a very strong smell at all. I turned to my friends and showed them what I found. What do you want to bet this is a piece of goblin clothing?
It's possible. It's rough and shoddy, likely made by primitive creatures.
Well, that proves that there is a scout in the area, but how do we find them?
Hey, Iron.
Don't look at me. I'm not playing that stupid Count to 3 game again.
No, not that. How did Iggy find you when you entered the city? Was the memory spell thing that Dasvogard / Grigori did transferred him too?
No. Ignorak isn't considered one of the dragons. While he is a Fey dragon, he's not considered it when it comes to transferring information. And for the record, that's not my opinion.
Then he must have had another way of knowing you were coming.
Oh yes, a fine sense of smell. I see.
Picked Iggy out of the pouch and set him down. Held the cloth up to his nose and let him sniff it. Okay, Iggy, look. I know you can understand words even if you can't speak them. Do you know if you can track down the source of this scent? Iggy sniffed for a few moments and then stepped away. He sniffed around the area curiously. He froze for a moment and turned toward his right. He sniffed again and snarled lightly. He began running towards the scent, and we quickly followed. Fast for having such short legs! Jeez!
Chasing him was far easier when my legs were 6 feet tall. Ignorak, slow down!
Iggy did not, in fact, slow down.
Look, it's a pain. But if Iggy can track this smell, let's not waste breath complaining. The sooner we find the scout, the sooner we find the shaman.
I wonder about that. What kind of creatures are these goblins anyway? I've heard such nasty, dangerous things about what they do to stray humans.
You'll be shocked to hear that what you've heard has actually been spread by the goblins themselves. Ever heard of a creature that's small and little and makes themselves big to seem dangerous? Well, that's exactly what goblins do.
Iggy slowed down finally, coming to a nicely paced walk, still sniffing. We all slowed and I looked at everyone, still catching my breath. Then I remembered Edith and Phineas both had gotten high in Alorium. First, throwing back shots the first chance she gets, then getting high? Maybe I needed to talk to her. I hung back and walked next to my friend. Hey, how you holding up?
Oh, I'm fine. Iggy isn't too fast. It's nice fresh air after all.
No, not that. With what happened with Tara.
This again? Look, I'm fine. Just drop it.
Edith, I'm not gonna drop it. I'm just not, okay? You aren't an alcoholic, so I don't know why you're getting drunk and high every chance you get. Are you trying to avoid it?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't even know what to really think about Iron or this brand. I mean, if she's touching me the same way she touched Tara.
That's what this is about?
Why wouldn't it be? I mean, come on, Zans. You saw what she did. She melted her freaking face off with just her hand. And Tara fought back. Tara said she was an archmage ready at 15 and she could do absolutely nothing to stop Iron from killing her. God, just... what chance would I have to stop her? I feel like you now.
Okay, ouch.
Yeah, the moment that last sentence left my mouth, I regretted it.
Iron wouldn't do that to you.
Why not? What if I get in her way? Look, I appreciate what you're doing, but right now, I'm just focusing on not pissing her off.
I looked at her for a few moments and sighed. Placed my hook gently on her shoulder as though it was a hand, and then removed it, walking away. I needed to get Edith out of her own head. I needed to do something. I remembered that I was afraid of Iron before. Still am, but not for the reason you'd think. She told me how she felt and she wouldn't hurt me. And that made me feel a lot better than I should have. I approached Iron in the front. Hey, you got a sec?
Not really. I'm too busy keeping an eye on your Fey dragon.
Mine?
Yes, It's yours. It was your idea to keep him around like a little dog. Your dragon.
Oh, listen, can you do me a favor?
What is it this time? Feed him, take him for a walk, rub his belly. I mean, I'll do all of those things, but not because you asked me to.
No, it's about Edith.
What's the problem with Edith?
She's pretty fucked up after what you did to Tara. She saw how you killed her and shit, how helpless Tara was to fight back. She's afraid you'll do the same to her.
What? Why would she think I would do that to her?
Listen, what you said to me before about protecting me. Did you mean it?
Of course I did, Alexander. If it is within my power to use my fire to guard you, I will do it.
And I would assume that Edith is included in this little protection swear.
Yes, of course! Why so many questions?
Okay, look. She's afraid of you. And the dragon brand. I mean, you haven't even told her what it is. And she's afraid if you touch her the same way you touch Tara, you'll just kill her.
Yes, I suppose that is a fair thing to fear. Very well. Point taken. I suppose I should have a conversation with her then.
Iron drifted back and waited for Edith. Edith stopped, looking at Iron, but decided to keep walking. Iron's horns ripped through her cloak. There was no way to hide them anymore.
I thought we'd have a chat, if that's all right.
Sure.
Alexander told me what you said.
Snitch.
It was good of him to do so, Edith. I personally assure you I will never raise a hand against you to cause you pain.
I know that.
Then why are you so afraid?
It's not what you will do. It's what you can do. You have the power of a god, and you want to put that into me? What if I die?
Edith, the ritual is safe. That's why I gathered all these ingredients, specifically so it would be.
That doesn't tell me anything, Iron. You still haven't told me what this ritual is or what it will do.
You're right. And that changes today. We won't commence the ritual right away, but I'll pull you aside once we're in town and answer any and all questions you have about me or the brand. I promise you, no amount of harm will come to you. Besides, it should be comforting, shouldn't it? Instead of worrying about what I can do to you, think about what I can do to the people who would hurt you.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Sorry.
You saw something scarring and terrifying. You have no reason to apologize to me. I am sorry you had to see what I did. But just know it was to defend you all.
Specifically Xander, though.
Oh! Look! Ignak found something! We should just probably stop talking and, go see what he found out.
She was right. Iggy stopped and sniffed the ground. Whatever he found, it was near. We all looked around, furrowed our brows. It sure didn't sound scary. Then, heard rustling in the bush. We all turned toward it, slowly walked in the direction of the sound. We then went to the bush. I swiped the bush aside, revealing who was underneath it. And it was empty. We blinked. That was weird. How did the bush move if there was nothing there? We heard a shout from above us. We looked to see a short, green creature with yellow eyes, long ears, and a giant nose. He fell down in front of us, slashing his knife at me. I reached my hook up and blocked the blow, tossing him to the side. Hey, this thing was actually useful for the first time in my journey. Imagine that.
Chop you up! Eat your bones!
Deciding to try my luck with the knot hand again, I grabbed him by his tunic with my hook. Okay, I'm starting to like this thing. I pulled him to face me. Edith drew her spear and put it to his neck. Phineas conjured an earth shank and also put it to his neck. Iron's hand glowed with flame. His eyes widened.
Wait, don't kill me. Wah! I was just trying to get you to go away.
His voice became less evil sounding and more nasally and kind of, how should I put this politely? Dorky? What a weird voice change. I dropped him to the ground and he fell on his rear. He shook his head and stood up, looking up at us. Iggy ran up to him and licked him aggressively.
Ah! Down, dragon puppy.
Iron snapped and Iggy heeled and ran to her side. The goblin dusted himself off and stood upright once more, addressing us.
Look, you can't be here. You're too close to the village. It's forbidden for humans to venture this far.
How forbidden we talking?
Well, we would really hate it if you kept going.
And if we did?
Look, what do you want? We don't have anything, really. We don't have any food besides crops we grow, so unless you like prunes.
Stop blathering. Listen, we need you to help us. We're looking for a witch named Wokek.
Witch? Never say that word around Wokek. Are you out of your minds?
Whatever she is, we would have words with her.
What do you want with Wokek?
I'm supposed to be a dragon, and I'm not. Wokek knows of a place to correct that.
Of course she does. She is Wokek. Seer of the sightless, hearer of the soundless, smeller of the scentless.
Taster of the tasteless?
Goblins don't have taste buds, so no.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
That's cool.
Who are you, little one?
He stood proudly and put a fist to his chest in a salute, his unkempt mohawk-esque hair sticking up.
I am Durchek, Watcher of Jazz Black. I am tasked with keeping a vigilant eye on the outskirts of town to keep people like yourselves from wandering in.
Listen, Derechek. I appreciate you're a guardian of your people. I am one as well. So, guardian to guardian, we are no threat to Jazz Black. We just want to speak with your witch, and we will leave immediately.
Shh! Don't say that word. She hates being called a witch.
Really? What would she do?
She'd cry. Witch is a mean word, and Wokek is really nice. She's really sensitive.
Please, Durchek. Can you take us to her? I'm not a human, so you wouldn't be leading only humans into Jazz Black.
Well, I suppose not. Dragons are known for caring for all creatures. Very well, but please don't destroy or burn or steal anything.
Do we look like a bunch of thieves to you?
Xander, are you forgetting how we got that sword on your back?
Yeah, point taken.
Follow me, but say nothing. Allow me to convey to my people that you mean them no harm, and then I shall pray that I am right.
Durchek did as he was asked and brought us to Jazz Black. As instructed, we said nothing during the entire walk there. It was a lengthy walk, but Durchek obviously had no intention of running off in the middle of it. What an honorable little creature. Jazz Black looked how you'd expect it to. A village made of dirt and crudely made homes made of wood. They had totems that guarded the front entrance, very ornate for being so crude.
Beware, this village is filled with deadly traps for people like you.
Rope traps? Bear traps? Pitfalls?
Low ceilings.
The deadliest of all.
Our great seer's hut is the one furthest from the entrance, but please wait before you go.
Durchek walked forward and raised his hands to the sky and let out a shriek. We jumped and expected that he might have betrayed us. In reality, the other goblins only looked over at us curiously.
There is a dragon with these humans. She may look human, but rest assured, she is only leading these humans to our seer, so she may heal herself of her humanity. These humans mean us no harm, and once they receive the information they require, they will take their leave and never return.
Durchek turned back to us.
Right?
Correct, Durchek.
There you have it. They will leave and never return. Rest easy, friends. There is a dragon among us, so no need to act suspicious. Vent out that understandable desire to remove imposters from our village and treat them with kindness and decency.
After a few seconds, they all went back to their business, and Durchek lowered his arms, and then turned to us.
I'm going back to my hut. If you wish to have words with Wokekt, you know where to find her, but please be mindful of your words. If you have to have a private meeting to discuss plans for your route home, you may do so in my hut. I must gather my freshly grown crops anyway.
Thank you, Durchek. You've been far more dependable than any of these humans.
Hey!
Brat.
Cheap shot after cheap shot.
Oh, come on, I was messing with you. It was a joke.
Really?
Of course, just hanking your chain, as they say. You've all done well.
We exchanged glances, confused. Iron joking with us and giving us compliments? Was this the same dragon chick? Because I think it is totally more likely at this point that a complete look-alike of Iron got swapped in the city than Iron actually being nice. But what do I know? Maybe she was becoming more human by the day.
In any case, Edith, I've kept you in the dark long enough. It's high time you and I discuss the details of the brand. Durchek, we will take you up on your offer to use your hut. Follow me, if you please.
Sure. Xander, Phineas, go ahead and speak to the seer and find out where we need to go.
Trusting me with that, huh?
Dude, you've got a hook for a hand. I doubt any of us are questioning your dedication to the mission.
That's all it took. I would have cut off my hand ages ago. No, I probably still wouldn't have done it then, actually, now that I think about it.
Well, it's high time we meet this witch. Shall we?
Okay, dude, you gotta watch it. You heard what Durchek said. Don't upset her, or she might not even help us.
Fine. Shaman it is.
Close enough. I brushed aside the beads and curtains that served as the doorway to Wokekt's hut, and ducked down to walk inside. Inside was tall enough for us to stand, fortunately, but Phineas slightly banged his head on the doorway. He cursed and rubbed his head, irritated.
I never thought I'd see the day where being a tall, handsome mage would bring me pain.
Handsome? What does that have to do with anything?
Just trying to make myself feel better through the headache.
Wokekt? Are you home? No response. We walked further down the dark hall of her hut and opened the curtains to a larger circular room. It had a faint green glow and chemicals and vials all over the place with patches of dirt and ingredients on the table. There was a great black cauldron in the center that was lightly boiling. I saw Wokekt at the end of the room, leaning on the table, looking at something. She was small, just as small, if not smaller than Durchek, with wrinkly green hands and long nails. Phineas looked at me and I shrugged. Excuse me, Wokekt? No response. I blinked and approached her, softly, trying not to alarm her. Wokekt, we came to speak with you about an urgent matter. Can we please talk? Once again, she didn't say anything. So I reached out and gently touched her on the shoulder. And the moment I did, she crumbled to sand! I shrieked and jumped back, and Phineas was immediately on guard, looking around.
What did you do?
I don't know!
You killed the shaman.
I didn't mean to, I just touched her!
Ah, so it does work after all.
We turned to the entrance to see a funny-looking creature with green skin and a hooded robe carrying supplies to the other side of the room.
Apologies, friends. I just wanted to see if my Earth clone would resemble me while I went out and grabbed a few things.
Earth clone?
Indeed. I get bothered so much, you know. Potion this, dispel that. It's so tiring. So I decided to test looking stoic and busy so people would leave me alone. And what better way to do that than to have someone or something do it for me?
She set her supplies down and reached into her pocket. She pulled out a pair of spectacles and placed them over her eyes, her gigantic, sharp green ears holding them in place. Her giant eyes were magnified by the spectacles, and it was honestly kind of cute how big they were. She smiled at us and looked at us for a few seconds. I opened my mouth to speak, and she jumped, her hands in the air, and she shrieked.
You're humans, aren't you?
How could you not see that, even with bad eyesight?
What a surprise. What are a couple of humans doing in Jazzblack?
We traveled here because King Odavid said you could help us with some information.
Odavid sent you, did he? How is that little munchkin?
Munchkin?
Well, I knew him when he was just a little whelp. Seeing him become king was a great honor.
I thought Odavid was one of the longest living creatures in the world.
One of them. Yes. And so am I.
You don't look very old.
Oh, I thank you. Aren't you just charming and handsome?
Yeah.
Sir Quokect, we beseech you to grant us your wisdom. We seek the pool of life.
The pool of life. What on earth could you want with that?
Well, I don't really need it. A friend of mine needs it. We're traveling with Princess Iron of Valoria. Recently, she was stricken by a spell to turn her human. And we seek the pool so she can turn back into a dragon.
Princess Iron, you say? I can only imagine how that crybaby king reacted.
Oh, you know about that.
That I do. I dried his tears many times as a young dragon.
This pool of life, are you sure it will work?
For what you seek, it will. It will restore her back to her draconic state.
Excellent! Finally, some true confirmation from someone who knows where to find it. Now then, where is the pool?
Why, I have no idea.
What? But...
He told you I knew, did he? That's just like him. Well, I'm afraid I have no idea.
Great. Another dead end.
Well, hold on. I didn't say there was no way to find out.
let me guess. Another witch somewhere else.
Witch?
She raised her arms defensively. She frowned sadly, and her eyes started to water. So that's where Odaviv got it from. What he meant to say was, another person witch we can find out from.
Oh. Well, No one. I can find out for you.
Now we're talking. How do we do that?
I perform a ritual in my lovely cauldron here, of course. I have nearly every ingredient that I need. Save for one.
And that would be?
My beloved goat, Harold.
You need a goat for a ritual?
You named a goat Harold?
Yes, and yes. My goat is instrumental for any and all rituals I do. If I do not have my goat, nothing can be done.
I didn't realize live animals are so important, but it makes sense. You're not gonna kill him, right?
I assure you, I will not kill any living things in the making of this ritual. You have a goblin's word.
Fine. Where is Harold roaming around?
Far from here, I'm afraid. You see, I used to be addicted to gambling.
When did you quit?
Oh, well, you know, it's, what's the day today? Well, it's about 45 minutes ago. Anyway, my arch nemesis, when it came to wagering, were the kobolds. They're a bunch of bloodthirsty bandits who take and take. But, admittedly, they do know how to play a good card game. I was having a rough night a few months ago, and I was losing every hand, and I ran out of money. I wanted one more chance to win my money back. So I wagered Harold. And I lost him. Since then, they've kept him as a bloody pet. My goat. They come down from the caves just to flaunt him, just to annoy me. and it always works.
You want us to wager for him in return or something?
What? No, just stop knocking them around. They're a bunch of jerks anyways. Besides, it's what humans do, right?
Hey, hold on. You want us to just go in and kill a bunch of kobolds for your goat?
Do you want to know where the pool is?
Yes.
Then yes. I can tell you where to find the caves if that changes anything.
Very well. And upon this goat's and our return, you will direct us to the pool. Yes?
Exactamundo, human!
Phineas and I looked at each other and turned away. Are we sure about this? How do we know that this cave isn't riddled with traps?
It likely is, which makes it all the more dangerous. We need to discuss a plan with the others before we proceed.
Well, at least the cave is probably made of rock and stone, so... Hey, at least it'll make it easy for you, huh?
I'm still recovering from that fight with the mages, if I'm honest. I'd say I'm about 40% of my max strength.
Damn, does it really take you that long to charge up your energy? It's been days.
I'd like to see you try to make the ground into a weapon and not have to catch your breath.
Point taken. We turned around and looked at Wokek once again. Okay, we'll do it. Can you at least show us where it is on the map?
Certainly. By the way, where is Princess Iron anyhow?
Bless you.
Thank you. Someone must be talking about me. Ignorak followed us closely as we trailed behind Durjak. Durjak led us to his small hut, and we walked inside. We had to duck down to get inside. His only room was small, but it had enough room for us to move around. I removed the pack from my shoulders and set it on the ground next to me, and sat near the center of the room, my legs crossed. Edith sheepishly did the same.
My home is your home. I have a few things to do in my yard, so I will give you both some time to speak of your plans.
Durjak, would you please bring Ignorak with you? He's the Fey dragon that follows us.
Very well. But if he eats my crops, you'd better pay for them. Come along, dragon puppy.
He patted his leg and Ignorak looked at me, questioningly. I nodded and gestured to Durjak. Ignorak followed him out of the hut, and he closed his straw curtain behind him. I exhaled and looked at Edith, who was admittedly concerned. You know, I've been unfair to you, and I apologize. When I first brought up the prospect of the Dragon Brand, I should have told you then and there what we would be doing, and what would ultimately happen to you, so I would like to correct that now. Please, ask anything and I shall answer it.
Okay. What is the Dragon Brand, and what does it do?
The Dragon Brand is an ancient soul-binding spell that intertwines dragon and human life. The dragon takes a fraction of its power and places it into a human. The catch is, human bodies and dragons mix shockingly well. The human body takes the small amount of power the dragon gives and multiplies it with itself, making the power the human gains greater than the power the dragon lost. It's a beneficial exchange.
Okay, I knew about the power, but what power exactly?
It's hard for dragons to grant their power of magic to humans, but their strength, speed, agility, awareness, every physical trait you can think gets increased dramatically. Dragon-branded humans are unstoppable warriors. They work best with physical fighters, which is why Phineas, being one of the ones I branded, was completely out of the question.
So you'd make me super strong and fast. I don't hate the sound of that.
Precisely. Your spear would be even more deadly than it is now. Which is why I want to brand you. Are you ready?
Not yet. I have more questions.
Very well. Ask any and all until you're satisfied.
Great. This ritual... Why all the potions?
The ritual can be performed in seconds, and without the use of potions. But there is a dramatically dire reason not to do this. The dragon's physical power is almost completely transferred over, to the point of pathetic weakness. And the pain both people go through is beyond imagination.
Let me get this straight. If you do it without the potions and a lot of time, you won't even be able to lift Iggy?
It would take a great deal of my strength to do so, but yes. I will not be able to pick up humans like I have been since we met, or move large trees. I would essentially be powerless other than my magic. It will be my only line of defense.
I don't know. Watching you in the forest, I doubt you could be powerless.
That was my breaking point. Watching what was happening reminded me of my past. Past I refused to repeat. And it was also due to me being at full power and not having branded anyone. But with the potions, I will still be powerful. And you as well.
You were in control, right?
I was. I was full of rage and grief, but I was in control. I have zero desire to hurt you. Not even a vestige. So please, trust in me. I will never put you in a situation to hurt you.
This ritual won't hurt, will it?
It will. But it will be nothing more than a small amount of pressure. And I do mean a small amount. It will feel as though I'm simply pushing on you.
What are you going to do, exactly?
We each have to drink 4 potions to null the pain and align our spirits. Once we do this, I place the hand over my eye and over your same eye, and then we sit for a few days.
Days?
The potion will satisfy your hunger, and will make you essentially dream while still awake. It will feel as though it takes longer than a few days, but it's not too bad. You should only be like that for what feels like a week, but it's only a one-time thing. Are you ready?
Yeah, I got one more question and then we can do this.
Of course. Anything.
Why me?
Because you are most qualified.
I am. Am I really?
What are you implying?
I mean, Xander lost a hand and had a sword he couldn't even wield, and he held his own with Terra, who was stronger than the mage I fought, and I was on the back foot the whole fight. I mean, even handicapped massively, I could only keep up with him.
Rest calm is a phenomenon that I've only seen Alexander be able to do. But we cannot count on that to occur every time.
I keep hearing that shit. Rest calm this, rest calm that. Feels like Phineas does nothing but talk about how much potential Xander has. I mean, you all consider me a leader, but what do I bring to the table?
With this brand, you will bring a lot.
If I need a spell to matter, then maybe I shouldn't have it. I don't even believe you think I'm the most qualified.
Of course I do. Why would I say otherwise?
Iron, be honest. Tell me the side effects of this brand. There's a reason this is a spell that dragons don't like to use, isn't there?
Edith's agitation was palpable. I could tell she wanted to know the truth, and lying would get us nowhere. I knew what the consequences of the brand were. I suppose, if she was to accept it, she'd have to know as well. Our souls become intertwined. They become connected. Our lives, our heartbeats.
What do you mean, connected?
I mean that if either of us die, the other dies as well.
What? That's a lot of fucking pressure!
There's more. The dragon who brands the human absorbs just a little bit of the human soul in exchange for sending a bit of theirs. If I do end up dying, either by your death or mine, I can never resurrect again. My soul will be mortal.
Are you insane? Why would I want to do that?
We need all the power we can get to succeed on this mission. If this is my last life, then the life of a queen is fitting for my end, isn't it?
Do you even want that?
It is my destiny.
Look me in the eyes. Look. What is the real reason you chose me? Is it because if you die with Xander branded, he dies as well? Is it because you can't bear the thought of him dying because of you?
You wouldn't understand.
So that's it then, isn't it? I'm expendable.
That is not what I said.
Yeah, well, it's what you meant. I get it now. Brand anyone but Xander. Not because you don't trust him, but because you don't want him to die. But everyone else? Fuck it. Let him go.
Edith, listen to me!
Nah. I'm done listening. I don't want your fucking brand, because no matter how much power you give me, it will always serve as a reminder that you're okay with my death as long as Xander is safe somewhere else.
Is that so bad? Is that so bad that I care about someone and don't want them to die? Is that so bad that I want someone who gave me their life on a silver platter to live safely? Maybe I was wrong to give you the brand, but I don't want him to die after all he's given.
Damn it, Iron. Of course it's not bad. I think it's fucking great that you care. We've been with you for months, and no one has given more to you than Xander. And God, I know he cares about you too, but you gotta look at it from my point of view. You don't want to give the brand to Xander because you're afraid of you fucking up and getting him killed? But if you get me killed, it's worth a try.
I never meant it that way.
I wish I knew what the hell you intended when you hired me.
You put yourself in this party. Do not pretend like I begged you to come with me.
What was I supposed to do? My brother ran out on me, Iron, and now the only other guy that's felt like a fair replacement was going on a journey with an evil mage and a dragon. Was I supposed to just let him go away and potentially fucking die?
So you'd give your life to protect him, would you?
Of course I would.
Well, so would I. Which is why I want to brand you now more than ever. I am willing to potentially die to ensure my success and his safety. Why are you so hesitant all of a sudden?
I don't want the brand. I refuse to take it. I am stripping away my consent to give me even a drop of your power.
You're being completely unreasonable.
I'm looking out for myself. I've done nothing but try for this team when I didn't have to. I just want to make sure I'm okay too. I deserve that.
This power will make you more than okay. Why can't you see that?
It's not the power I'm afraid of. It's the responsibility of not fucking dying. If I die, you die, right? If I fuck up, if I slip up like I did in the forest, and Xander isn't around to lose another hand, you are completely done for. Do you think I want to die knowing I robbed an entire city of their princess on my fading conscience? And, oh God, Xander, could you imagine how he'd feel if he lost both his best friend and the girl he's given everything to keep safe in the same second?
I never thought of it that way.
Iron, you're my friend, and I'm dead, afraid of you, but I care. If I were to ever be the reason for you getting hurt, well, shit, I'd be a failure of a knight. You specifically brought me along to be the most qualified to get you from point A to point B, right? How am I supposed to do that if I can't at least ensure you get out alive if I were to die? That's my ace in the hole. My last resort. My death to ensure your life. And if I'm branded, I don't have that chance.
I looked over at my satchel, contemplating her words. She was right. What was I thinking? I'd been selfish. I wanted to give them power to ensure my journey, but if it wasn't enough, what if I took away their right to die with honor? Should it hopefully not come to that? Very well. I respect your wishes.
I'm sorry you wasted your money on potions and stuff.
It was free. I am a princess.
Oh yeah, right.
You're right. The dragon brand was a selfish request of mine. I apologize for forcing it upon you.
Sorry if it came off like I wasn't honored. It's a cool prospect having that much strength, but I gotta be real. Responsibility has got to be one of my least favorite things in the world. Put money on it. I will absolutely never be in a place of power.
So, what do we do now?
Stumble through it blindly like a bunch of idiots. Just like how we've been doing.
Is that wise? If we make errors along the way?
To err is human, Iron.
My brows furrowed. Edith smiled and rose to her feet. She walked out of the hut and stretched on the porch of it.
Man, I'm starving. I'm gonna find Xander, see if he can cook up something. Find some sticks and rocks. He'll probably make a hell of a dish out of that, too.
I followed her out of the hut and stopped. I looked at my hands, my arms, my feet. Skin just like hers. Feelings just like hers. Thoughts just like hers. Had it happened this fast? And was it really not that bad? Was this feeling supposed to be weak? To be worrisome? But perhaps worrying meant that I cared. Perhaps caring meant that I was human.
Eh? You say something? Iron?
No. It's nothing. You're right. I'm hungry too. Let's find Alexander.
Eh? Did I miss something?
Humanity was something I'd feared from day one. Weakness, frailty. But here, I stood in a village far from home, seeing new things, meeting new people. All with these 3 people who saw me as a friend. Perhaps this mission of mine was not something we should rush. Perhaps it was okay to stop and smell the roses. And so I did. And they smelled absolutely wonderful.
No! Down, dragon puppy! Don't eat those! No, those humans are gonna get it!
I looked at Ignorak playing in the garden, with Churchak chasing him. Phineas was struggling to carry the box, and Alexander was giggling to himself at Phineas's expense, before subsequently dropping what he was carrying, and Phineas laughed in return. Edith jogged over and helped them pick things up. They all smiled together. This was life. This was freedom. This was temporary. But I learned a valuable lesson right in that moment. And perhaps even you, dear listener, can learn it too. Just because something can't last forever doesn't mean it can't last for a while. I'm sorry, Father. I hope you don't mind if I take my time. Whew, all right. Alexander, what's for dinner?